Good afternoon everybody, and welcome to another video in Wales. This is my second video in Anglesey. I did one in Anglesey this time last year in September. This time I'm going to be looking around different places in Anglesey that I didn't visit last year. And this place is Plas Newydd. It was a family home going back to the 1400s. It's now, it has been given to the National Trust now and is open as a museum. So just by the car park is the shop and the cafe. In the shop you buy the ticket for the whole site, so you've got a lot of gardens, there's some facilities for children, and you've got access to the house. The house had a very interesting owner at the end of the 19th century, quite an eccentric person, so I'll tell you about that as I'm going through the house. So now I'm just on my way down there to have a look inside. The earliest parts of the current building date back to the 1400s, with 40 acres of peaceful gardens and 129 acres of woodland and parkland. It had some big alterations in the 18th century. Henry Paget, also known as Lord Anglesey, inherited this house as well as a few other properties in 1898. The estates and the family businesses provided him with an annual income of £110,000 then, which is the equivalent of about £12 million per year today. However, he spent most of his fortune on lavish parties, jewellery and flamboyant theatrical performances. The chapel on the estate was converted into a theatre and he regularly performed there in lead roles, and he also paid professional actors to perform all around Europe with him. Just 6 years after his inheritance, he was bankrupt and died shortly afterwards. The estate remained within the family until the 1970s, when it was given to the National Trust. This morning we've come to Porth Wen Abandoned Brickworks. These are on the coast in Anglesey, so you park up on a lay-by just off the main road. There isn't actually a proper car park, and from there it's about a kilometre and a half to walk down here. Once you come off the main path, it's quite rocky and unstable going down to the brickworks, so some people might want to use walking poles. So these brickworks were opened around 1850 and they stopped operating in 1949, and the bricks that were made here were exported by sea. So I'm just going to have a look round the site now. behind me is St Patrick's Church. You'll see it written in Welsh on the maps as Llanbadrig. It was founded in the 5th century AD, apparently by St Patrick, who was shipwrecked around this coast here. And it's allegedly one of the oldest, or possibly the oldest, church site in all of Wales. This is the last working windmill in Wales. It was built in 1775, and on this site as well there's some replica Iron Age houses. It's a family trail, so you can take the kids on that one. I think it must be a nice flat trail. So we're just coming in now to have a look at the visitor centre. Just behind me here are the replica roundhouses. These are based on roundhouses that were that go back 3,000 years, that were discovered in other parts of North Wales. So it was just ruins that were discovered, and archaeologists have recreated them here. So this is included in your ticket price to go in and see the windmill and the shop, and then here, and then you have another walk to the old bakery, and as well as that there's some children's activities here too. So on this site here, you'll find the remains of the old bakery. On the way to our hotel, we passed through the town with the longest name, which has 58 letters. These are the Anglesey copper mines. There's been copper mining around here for over 3,000 years, but in the 18th century this became one of the biggest copper mines in the world. The whole trail is about 3.8 kilometres if you want to see everything, so it takes about an hour to walk round. It's quite easy to find maps of the trail online, and there's one at the front in the car park too. By the early 19th century, mining skills intensified here, including the introduction of Cornish techniques and deeper underground shafts from about 1810. You can see the Grade 2 listed windmill built in 1878 for pumping out water. However, by the late 19th century, the richest ore was increasingly difficult to access, and commercial mining gradually declined, leading to a full closure of underground operations by 1904. Although copper extraction via precipitation from mine water continued intermittently into the 1920s, large-scale operations never resumed. Behind me is the church in the sea. It's a very old little church. It's connected to Anglesey by a causeway, so you can only cross it at low tide, which is now. It's not that easy to walk from where you park. You park in a little lay-by, and then from there it's very rocky, so I presume when the tide's in it's all up here and you wouldn't be able to cross. But I'm hoping today I can get over there. I can see some people over there, so I'm going to walk down there and have a look. There has been a Christian site here since at least the 7th century. The existing structure has parts dating from the 12th century, and there was a substantial rebuild in the 14th century. In 1766, a priest who spoke only English was appointed to serve this church. However, the congregation of about 500 people only had about 5 English speakers at this time. An ecclesiastical court then decided that parishes whose congregations were primarily Welsh-speaking should have Welsh-speaking clergy. Over time, coastal erosion turned what once was a peninsula between 2 bays into the island that you see today. Graves in the churchyard started to fall into the sea. To prevent more damage, in 1893, an architect raised funds and built a seawall around the island and restored the church. To get to the church, the best way is to drive through the village of Aberffraw. You'll come to a single track road which you drive down for a couple of minutes, and at the end you'll come to a lay-by where there's space for a few cars to park. Some websites advise you to go in the other direction towards a car park called the Fisherman's Car Park. Note that this car park now requires a permit, so I don't recommend going that way. So I'm going to end my video here on Anglesey at the church in the sea. If you want to see more of Anglesey, such as Beaumaris or Llanbadrig Island, they're on my first Anglesey video, which I did last year. I'll put a link to that one in the description below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.